I'm a lawyer by training. I did not know much about cannabis. I thought it was bad for you and killed brain cells. I grew up in that era. And I had a cannabis awakening, I call it, in 2016 when my husband and I went to Colorado and we did a private tour, and I realized that everything I knew about cannabis was wrong. And I live in Massachusetts. And, you know, I'm a mom. I'm an attorney. I've been one of those moms who's been in and out of the world of monetized work for years. But in 2016, I was actually back at work. We had this cannabis awakening. Our kids were teenagers. The family joke is I came home and said, kids, everything I know about cannabis is wrong. Psych. And then 2016, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, we voted for adult use cannabis, the first in New England. And at the end of that year, a contract position I was working on ended. And then the truth is I was really just having a hard time getting a job in 2017 because I had been a mom who took time off periodically from the world of monetized work to care for my children, because I know this is news, but children don't raise themselves and someone has to do it. And I was just one of those. Anyway, so 2017, my resume looked crazy. I am an attorney. I used to practice family law. I took time off. I've also been the PTA mom and worked at the library, and, you know, all those things that you do that aren't monetized don't count in the world of real world. And I was just having a hard time getting a job. I could see in 2017 that a lot of the law firms were starting to set up cannabis law divisions, which was new. You know, when do you ever get to be part of something new? So I was talking to somebody about this, and you just need one person to say it's okay. And I'm like, what do you think of cannabis law? And they were like, that's a great idea. So that was the initial leap. And when my husband hears me talk, because I'm not doing law, he's like, you could have been a cannabis lawyer. That would have been much more, you know, financially would have been.
That would have been a more solvent, solid path.
But I spent 2017, 2018 really learning about the plant, you know, and learning about the endocannabinoid system and some of the history and just things I really didn't know about it. And in 2018, I met a man who was starting a media company, a podcast media company, and he had a podcast about cannabis. And he hired me to be his executive producer. And so that is what I literally did for a year. And that's pretty much how I learned that the industry wasn't just a bunch of dudes on their couch eating Cheetos. Because, you know what I mean? I could see across the board. It touched everything from cosmetics to criminal justice. I knew someone running for district attorney out here in Massachusetts who was willing to come on the show and talk about cannabis in not a crazy way, which is like, if you know anything about district attorneys, you know that's a big deal. Yeah. Anyway, so that's 2017, 2018, 2019. I'm in the studio with a friend of mine, and we're literally just talking about how you talk to your kids in this new era. My kids were older teenagers at that point. Her kids were younger. The guys in the studio weren't so sure it'd be any interesting. The woman I was talking to was like a little afraid to be connected to cannabis because it was still a little uncomfortable. And I'm like, I'll do it. And they were going to call me the Canna Mom, which I'm more of a Canna Mom now. But the truth is, the Canna Moms I was meeting every day are these women who are taking real risks because they're using cannabis for their health or they're using cannabis for their children. And it's really like, it's not a joke. So I call it the Canna Mom Show, like the Daily Show, like an interview show. And then once I started talking to people about cannabis, like being open about it, everybody had a Canna story. And that's how it started in 2018.